This is the Excellerator All-Natural Livestock Lowdown podcast. This episode is presented by High Noon Feeds Western Division. Feed the dream with products that have been proven time and time again. Call Clint Cummins at 805-550-9857. That's 805-550-9857. Now here's your host, Jerry Fender.
In this episode, we explore Excellerator in every show box, identifying the most important nutrition-related traits show judges want to see and how Excellerator can benefit all show stock before, during, and after show events. We'll be back with Clint Cummins, owner of High Noon Feeds Western Division, and Michael Officer, Director of Research for Pacer Technology, the manufacturer of Excellerator All Natural. Champion results come from the best feeds. Livestock raised for the show ring need to grow and develop at optimal rates to compete at the highest level. Excellerator is an all-natural feed additive designed for livestock and show animals, specially formulated to provide your show or performance animals with the boost they need to perform at a superior level. Optimum growth, performance, and health with Excellerator All Natural from Pacer Technology. Get more information and order online at acceleratorallnatural.com. That's acceleratorallnatural.com. Champion results from the best feeds with Excellerator All Natural.
Today we are talking with Clint Cummins, High Noon Show Feeds, Mike Officer, Research Director for Pacer Technology. Let's jump right into this, men, and we'll start with you, Clint. And before we get into this about what we're going to be talking about, Clint, I'd like a little background. Who is Clint Cummins?
Well, Clint Cummins was born in San Francisco County, grew up on a 20-acre farm. My father was a local ag teacher. We ran hogs and sheep. My mother was into Australian shepherds and quarter horses, and we had about 40 sows and about 70 ewes, and was in 4-H, FFA. Then went on to judge in 4-H, FFA, judge at junior college, Modesto Junior College, and I judged at Oklahoma State University and senior college. Then coached the national champion 4-H judging team in '96 in California. Coached the judging team at Cal Poly State University. And I've been around livestock, been around sheep my whole life. We breed them, we feed them, we raise them. There for a time, I judged every major stock show in the country, and most of them twice, and most of the major state fairs, Louisville, Kansas City, Denver, you name it, I probably judged it. Ohio State Fair. So anyways, and now I'm 54 years old, live in Rio Grande, California. I have 3 beautiful children, my loving wife, and we own High Noon Feeds, Western Division. We feed them, we breed them, club lambs, show lambs, project lambs, whatever you want to call it. And we do it every day, and we're in the barn.
A very natural progression for you then over the years. So with that little bit of background out there now, as the judge and the breeder, what do you recommend for preparing lambs for the upcoming shows then?
Well, that's a loaded question, but first and foremost, health is the most important. And when I say health, that means that you can tell most animals are healthy by an aggressive appetite, because if they have an aggressive appetite, then automatically those animals are performing at their optimal levels. Because our goal is, from a show animal standpoint, is that we are paying a premium for genetic superiority. And so to give ourselves the chance to play at the highest level, to be in the backdrop, to get the picture, managing nutrition becomes the most ideal. So from a breeder, feeder standpoint, feeding animals to get them into the ring, you basically want them to have a champion look. Genetics, managing nutrition, optimal health, aggressive appetite, performance for genetic superiority.
Right. Okay. So it all kind of makes sense. And we started out talking basically about lambs, but this would go for all show animals, correct?
All show animals. Yeah. Let's ask yourself, if you're going to go run a marathon, or you're going to go do an event, you're going to go do something and have some kind of physical activity, your health has to be good, right? You don't want to have a heart attack. You don't want to have a stroke. You don't want to, you put too much time and effort and energy and monetary value into this goal. You want to be at your optimal level in terms of health. Genetics, managing nutrition. You're going to manage your nutrition with your genetics to achieve your ultimate performance. That's the goal.
ultimately what it comes down to. All right. So with that then said, Mike, we'll jump over to you, Mike Officer, the Director of Research at Pacer Technology. And Mike, before we get into your information here and your thoughts, give us a little background on you.
Well, thank you, Jerry. Yes, I was raised on a farm in southwest Missouri, basically with beef, cattle, and hogs. I actually taught vocational agriculture for 2 years and then went back to graduate school and got a degree in animal science and nutrition, which I've done then for most of my career. I moved to Idaho with Pacer Technology, and I've been working with the company developing the research program and just finding out how our products work.
Okay, and that leads us directly into what we want to talk about now, which is Excellerator, specifically from Pacer Technology, and the feeding programs that go along with show animals' growth and health and development that Clint has talked about before, during, and after the show. So if you could give us a little bit more on that, Mike, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. Well, I like to go back to some of the things that Clint mentioned, and what he said about genetic expression is so important. Whether you go to a sale and buy a $5,000 lamb or you pick a lamb out of a group, you want that lamb to show as well as possible, and you need to express whatever genetic superiority that lamb has. So in my opinion, and of course being a nutritionist all my career, I think it all starts with proper nutrition. It's on the top of importance to me. And basically, one thing that we have to remember is that animals don't have requirements based on percent. Even though our feed tags list percent, that's always based upon recommended intakes. Actually, the requirements are in grams per day. And it's important that the animal receives all of the essential nutrients, the protein, amino acids, energy, vitamins, minerals, every day to grow and develop that immune system in order to express that genetic potential. So if we miss a day, that we have to catch up. So what that means is that we have to feed the right feed in the right amount at the right time. So we need to meet those daily requirements, nutritional requirements for that particular animal. And in today's genetics world, we have animals that have a superior rate of gain. They are superior in growth parameters, and we have to feed to that. So I think that eating what that lamb needs every day leads me to my next point. So let's take an example that you have a show in 40 days. You have to know where your animal is today in regard to meeting that market readiness that Clint talks to. Will it meet the weight that it needs to be on show day? And if you are 10 pounds light, you want to make up 10 pounds in 40 days, you've got to feed that animal differently. So this takes some nutritional advice. So what I would recommend that you do is to either call Clint or I, and we can help you walk through where you are with your animal's weight and conformation to meet those upcoming needs. The final thing, and Clint thinks this is the most important, I think it's the most important after they grow, and that is health. Because even if you have an animal that grew to a superior genetic potential, and it's showing that in the show ring, if that animal is sick, it's not going to show very well. It's going to go off feed, it's going to act lethargic, and it's just not going to show very well. So I think those are the things that I wanted to mention. And in order to maintain and get to that point, you need to have an aggressive appetite. The animal has to eat. It has to eat enough of those nutrients to develop the tissues that grow, develop, and stay healthy.
So Clint, then you've got the experience as the breeder, the feeding show lambs, judging them. Obviously, as we heard at the top of the show, a lot of years of doing that. What's the best advice you throw out there for about the stress of shows and preparing lambs for before, during, and after?
Well, first and foremost, we have a tube of Excellerator in our show boxes because we believe that Excellerator ensures the health and the appetite to overcome the hauling, the stress, the heat, pulling weight, changing diets, because everybody's trying to get the ultimate, the ultimate fill, the ultimate feel, the texture. They're trying to, it's one of the reasons why we called the feed company High Noon, because we feed that animal to high noon, to the perfect composition, to its genetic superiority. So we want that animal to walk in at high noon. And again, health becomes the most important. And then Excellerator, what it does for the different body types, especially the ruminant animal, because what most people don't understand is the ruminant animal is so complex, but it's very simple to keep the rumen functioning healthy. But almost in the show world, we do everything to mess it up. And then, then people go like, oh, my hog's not eating the day of the show. You cannot win a hog show if your hog doesn't consume, right? My steer is not eating. You can't win a steer show with it not consuming. That's why Excellerator becomes so important, because it ensures of all the decisions that you made on preparing this animal, your gut will always be healthy. And as long as you have a healthy rumen, you'll always have an aggressive appetite.
So Mike, we'll talk more about Excellerator then with this appetite and perform at the higher level. We heard Clint say that is what he uses to help that. Why does that work that way?
Well, the thing about ruminant nutrition that a lot of feeders forget is that we have to feed the bug. Those bugs that are in the rumen, and there are trillions of bacteria that are digesting feed, and we have to keep them healthy to maintain proper growth and appetite. So Excellerator improves this function in the rumen by providing certain components that increase certain bacteria to produce additional energy. And as the population of that bacteria increases from Excellerator, that protein level that those microorganisms produce increases also. So in essence, what Excellerator does is it provides extra energy and protein from the feed that we're feeding that animal, and we're doing it through feeding those microorganisms. The other part about Excellerator is that it works in the gut. So we talk about rumen because it generates appetite, but we talk about the gut because it's where 70% of the immune function resides. So the same ingredients that provide a nutrient source to those beneficial bacteria in the rumen is also feeding the digestive bacteria in the gut, which we call the beneficial bacteria, and that helps that gut lining and the absorptive immune functions to grow faster and to be maintained in a much healthier fashion. So when we talk about show, we put animals in a truck or in a trailer, we drive down the road, there's the excitement of the show, there's people, there's noise, there's commingling of other animals, and it's just the prime way for animals to get stressed, to go off feed, and get sick. So if we have Excellerator in our show box, and we can give that show animal a dose of Excellerator before it goes on the trailer, and again at the show, we will maintain that appetite and that health where other animals may be undergoing stress and off-feed conditions. So it's all about feeding the bugs in the rumen and in the gut. So that's why we want Excellerator in every show box.
So getting them on feed, keeping them on feed, keeping them going.
Exactly.
All right. So Clint, you have indicated you use Excellerator. You know other people who do as well, I assume, and they are having great results as well, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, no, every animal that we sell off of our farm and every person that I come in contact, whether the High Noon Feed the Dream sale or people who call and ask feed questions, I always suggest that Accelerator is something that I would definitely recommend to have in your show box. Read the recommended dosage, and it's such a cheap source of insurance to ensure the investment that you made in that project. Some people have spent a tremendous amount of money. Why take the risk? That's the whole goal. Is what I tell them. They're like, well, it costs a little bit of money, but you gave $10,000 for the weather. What are you worried about a $15, $20 back tube, right? You know what I mean? It's like, it makes no sense. You're driving an $80,000 car. Why are you worrying about this little bit of expense, right? This ensures, this is as good as it's gold in ensuring that your animal is going to perform if you feed it right. But we've got the gut right. The engine's going. You just got to feed it.
You have fed a lot of lambs in your life. Have you had any experience with Accelerator on show lambs that have come into your barn that were off feed or intakes were less than you wanted, and you brought them back with Accelerator?
Oh yeah, no, I got a perfect example. So my wife teaches ag in Apoma High School, and I think she bought 25 or 30 of them. There was one young lady that wanted to spend a little bit more money, got a special lamb from a big time breeder, and the lamb was sent over. The breeder called me and said, "Hey, this is a very good sheep, but he can't miss a day. He can't miss a beat. He's not quite eating 2 pounds a day, right?" So my joke to him was, well, why don't you feed High Noon? But that's a different subject, right? But I mean, I said, well, why are you sending it? Well, I know you'll get him right. I'm like, yeah. So we got the sheep home. We wormed, we bow seed, we sulfid, which worming and sulfa helps if they had any problems. Well, we acclimated them first to High Noon. Then about 5 to 10 days into it, we wormed, sulfid, bow seed, and then we hit them with the Accelerator. And we were doing it probably every third day with some liquid B12. We like that as well. And that lamb in 1 month, and you got to remember, a ruminant animal is different than a monogastric. You don't see results quite as fast because it works a little slower. And in 1 month, on a 3.5-month-old sheep, we went from 2 pounds to 4 pounds. And I can tell you that the management of worming and sulfa probably helped, but his appetite and hits the feed bunk and his whole attitude and demeanor when you show up to the feed barn, a lot of that has to do with the Accelerator because of the bugs and his rumen. Because and we're feeding him right. I mean, we're feeding the proper amount of forage and grain, but I truly believe the Accelerator. I wouldn't have said or mentioned or done it if I didn't believe in that product. So that lamb now is on course to meet his genetic superiority and play at the level that young lady wants to play with, and meet the expectations of what that breeder, when he shows up on a Tuesday to watch that animal show, should meet the expectation that we've met. The managed nutrition met the genetics, and we had the right plan.
Sounds excellent, Clint. So, Mike, Clint talked a little bit about hitting in the animals with the Accelerator, and for sheep specifically, as we've been talking about, what would the feeding recommendations be?
Well, first of all, the Accelerator comes in 3 sizes. We have a 1 pound container, a 4 pound container, but for ease of application on showtime, we have a paste, which we would then feed a lamb between 7 and 8 grams of that per day. And in that 7 to 8 grams, you're going to be getting our product that is specifically designed for increasing that energy in the rumen, keeping the rumen healthy, and creating that appetite that Clint mentioned. And keep in mind that the cascade of events go from you have to have the appetite before you get the nutrients, and then the nutrients develop and maintain the immune system. So at the end of the day, I think Excellerator starts with the appetite increase and maintains that under stressful conditions.
Okay, and you said there were 1 pound and 4 pound availabilities on Excellerator. What is that product as opposed to the tube to the paste product?
The dry product would be our Excellerator would be on a dry carrier, and that could be either top dressed on top of the feed bunk, or it could be mixed into the ration. And we would want the animal to consume about 3 3/4 to 4 grams of that per day. So about 4 grams of the dry, or 7 to 8 grams of the paste.
All right, thanks, Mike. And then Clint, we talked about Excellerator a little bit. You've hit on your high noon feeds as well. And for people who want more of this, who want the Excellerator, who want the high noon feeds because they're a superior feed as well, how do people get that?
So High Noon Western Division, we are part of the Cruise Western Milling Stock Division. We're on their price list. So you can go to Cruise Western Milling. We also sell some of the products online through Wes Alcott. And you can find the Excellerator product online with Wes Alcott and Cruise online feed store. And as well as High Noon, you can also get that on Chewy.com and PetSmart. That's where you would start. If you have any questions, you can call me. My number is 805-550-9857. I answer phone calls and emails and videos of animals all the time. We're the support system to ensure that you meet your dreams or expectations or your goals or whatsoever. We want to be a part of it. We make suggestions, and our suggestions are backed by years of a trial basis. So
there you go. All right. So once again, you said it for Cruise Feed and Supply. That website is cruisefeed, KRUSE feed.com. Wes Alcott, who you mentioned, his number 562-690-6998. We'll about get ready to wrap things up here, and I will ask both of you, starting with you, Mike, your final thoughts.
Keep those lambs on feed. Have Excellerator in every show box.
All right. And Clint?
Genetics, managing nutrition, and healthy animal creates positive results. I believe in Excellerator. I believe in a healthy room. And
thank you, Clint Cummings, High Noon Feeds, and Mike Officer, Research Director for Pacer Technology.
You've been listening to the Excellerator All Natural Livestock Lowdown podcast. Learn more at acceleratorallnatural.com.